The concept and the idea was, of course, to try and build a Formula One team 50% male, 50% female, which is extremely hard to do.
Now, reports have emerged recently about the creation of a Formula One team which will have its members equally divided by gender. The polls currently say that a lot of the F1 fans are female, so there is no reason why this team should not be on the grid for at least one season, right? Well, it's not going to be so easy. With the paddock separated on this issue, can a team built on gender equality make it to the grid? What are the problems it might face, and who's funding this team anyways? Stick around to find out.
At the 1975 South African Grand Prix, Lombardi became the first female driver.
In Formula One, there hasn't been a female driver in more than 40 years. The motorsport industry is working hard to change that, given the recent estimates suggest that around 40% of the Formula One fans are female, and that number is growing. Now, one of the people who's fighting the most to make this change is Craig Pollock. Craig Pollock has been working in secret for the past 4 years to set up a new Formula One team that is radically different from any other team on the grid. And now he's ready to tell everyone about his plans. Pollock knows how to start from scratch and build an F1 team because he was the founder and CEO of British American Racing, BAR, which is now owned by Mercedes. He says that his latest project, Formula Equal, would be the first team in the sport with an equal number of men and women in every position, from the driver's seat to the boardroom. Our ambition to deliver and build opportunities and pathways for women to get to the very top level inside motorsports, Pollock tells CNN Sports' Don Riddle in an exclusive interview. The concept and the idea was to try and build a Formula One team 50% male, 50% female, which is extremely hard to do if you have an existing Formula One team. It's a lot easier with a clean sheet of paper. Formula Equal could start in 2026 if Pollock's application to join the grid is accepted. It would be a big change for a sport and industry that's often criticised for not having enough women in them. The FIA, which is the global governing body of motorsport, did a survey in 2016 and found that 6.5% of drivers, 16% of employees, and 19% of volunteers in European motorsport were women. The FIA's Women in Motorsport Commission, which started in 2009, wants to change these numbers by promoting female participation on and off the track through events, initiatives, and educational programs. Its ambassadors include Susie Wolff, who in 2014 was the first woman to take part in a Grand Prix weekend in 22 years, and Tatiana Calderon, who was a test driver for the Sauber F1 team, which is now Alfa Romeo. The FIA's Girls on Track program, on the other hand, uses competitions to train and promote young women in motorsport at the grassroots level. For Pollock, Formula Equal isn't just about getting women to drive F1 cars, it's also about making sure everyone on the team has the same number of women and men. We know that we're going to have to go through our academy systems, he says. We know we're going to have to build it up because there aren't enough women at the moment who are trained up to the level of Formula One, and they've got to earn a place there at the same time. At the moment, there are 10 teams in F1, and each team has 2 drivers who start every race this season. The FIA started accepting applications at the beginning of this year for 1 or more new F1 teams to join the championship in 2025, 2026 or 2027. So why did Pollock decide to talk about his plans in public now? Formula One is a little bit like a sieve, he jokes, adding that his name was listed in connection to an application at a commission meeting. You've got to be very careful who you talk to. I had to basically admit, yes, it's correct. We've made an application. That was it.
An estimated cost for a new F1 team is more than $1 billion, and it has been heavily rumoured that Saudi Arabia...
Now, as part of the process for choosing a team, the FIA will look at things like a detailed business plan, the team's experience, technical skills and resources, as well as its ability to raise and keep enough money. Pollock, as well as the CEO of Bar, was also Jacques Villeneuve's manager when he won the F1 championship, so he knows how much money is needed to start a team. He says that Mercedes boss, Toto Wolff, said last year that a new team joining F1 would cost around $1 billion. Formula Equal is being funded by a Gulf area country, but Craig was not able to disclose the details at the moment. Pollock expressed optimism that the funding would come through and acknowledged that launching such a venture requires a significant amount of financial backing. He suggested that more information would be forthcoming in the near future. People have thought that Pollock's backers are from Saudi Arabia, which has big plans for the sport, having hosted its first Grand Prix in 2021.
It's lights out and away we go. Perez does get away well, comes over the cover.
Red Bull team principal Christian Horner said this week in Melbourne he believes gender equality in the sport is inevitable. I think it's fantastic to see the amount of girls, females that are showing interest in Formula One now, and we're seeing it at all levels, he said. I think the interest is growing. It's appealing to more women to get involved in the sport, whether that's from an engineering basis or across all aspects of the organisation. As the sport does become more accessible, and we're pushing it to make it more accessible, I think that it's something that will naturally happen anyway. All of this is a very sensitive topic in the F1 world. For example, Yemen's Houthi rebels attacked an oil storage facility near the track last year, but the race in Jeddah still went on.
Saudi authorities insist it's life as usual despite the flurry of attacks, and the Formula One Grand Prix due to take place in Jeddah on Sunday will go ahead.
Lewis Hamilton and many human rights groups are worried about Saudi Arabia's human rights record, which may hinder the potential Formula Equal team funding by the Saudis. And the human rights group Reprieve said earlier this month that F1 was using the sport to hide abusive government. For all the talk of positive values and accelerating change, Formula One has never seriously engaged with human rights, and the way the sport is used to whitewash abuses by some of the world's most repressive regimes, said Reprieve Joint Executive Director Maya Foa. Also, it would be important for Saudi Arabia to have a mixed-gender motorsports team because Saudi women weren't allowed to drive until 2018. When asked about sports washing, which is when a country uses a sport to improve its image around the world, F1 said it has worked hard to be a positive force everywhere it races, including economic, social, and cultural benefits. Pollock also says that his team's main goal is to deliver the opportunities and pathways for the next generation of women. He further explained in the interview that the funding from the Gulf state is not just about financial support, but also aligned with the values of equality, diversity, inclusion, and sustainability. He emphasized that the partnership was initiated by the Gulf state approaching his team because they had a fully developed business plan and a turnkey operation that was ready to be launched. He ended by saying that his project, if successful, would see the launch of the first Formula One team that is truly outside of Europe, thousands of miles from the heartland of the sport in the south of England, where many teams are already based, and that Formula Equal is going to be a long-term project. Now, this would be a challenging concept to implement in the current Formula One landscape, as the sport is segregated by gender. However, it's worth noting that the sport has made progress towards gender diversity in recent years, with the creation of the Women's F1 Esports Series and the appointment of a female director of the F1 Paddock Club. A gender-equal team would require a significant shift in the way the sport is structured and could potentially open up new opportunities for female drivers to compete at the highest level. From a broader perspective, promoting gender diversity in all areas of society is important, including in traditionally male-dominated fields like motorsports. If successful, Formula Equal could be a powerful symbol of inclusivity and could help to inspire more women to get involved in motorsports. However, it's worth considering the potential logistical and practical challenges that such a team would face, such as finding drivers of both genders who are equally skilled and experienced. Ultimately, the success of this team would depend on how well it was executed and the support it received from the wider motorsports community. So, what do you think? Can a team like this happen? Or will it be stopped considering the conservatism in Formula One these days? Let us know in the comments down below, and we'll see you next time.